Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. Alright, let's get this off the screen. Okay, hopefully I've got my settings all set up right for a change this time. As usual, it's not saving my settings, so I'm having to go back in and change them. The VSync was back on, the screen resolution was wrong, and most importantly, the audio. I think I've hopefully got a good spot for the audio, but you guys let me know. If it's too loud, too quiet, whatever. All right. Okay, well, let's go into our thing. As you guys remember, we were on the fire station. So let's head on inside and resume that. I foresee this being, well, the fire station itself is pretty easy, but the little practice building, oof, that's going to be a good one. A bit of a chore, I would imagine. But we'll start with the fire station. I think we're just about mostly done with it, other than this little section over here. So let's start from the top. So I hope everybody's having a good Sunday. Let's see, I need to turn that up on my side a little bit. So I always have to remember to change all of my settings when I do these streams. And then I got to remember to change them all back because they're different from the settings that I have for my regular recording. I don't know if there's a way in OBS to set up like a thing where you say, this is what I want you to use when I'm streaming, and this is what I want you to use when I'm recording. I thought there might be. There's a thing in OBS that's what's it called? It's called Scenes. And I thought maybe that might be what that was, but I tried it out and it didn't seem to be doing what I wanted, so I gave up on it. There probably is something like that, but I just haven't figured it out. I'm not all that experienced with OBS. So yeah, I hope your weekend has been going okay. Mine's been going pretty well. I've been on vacation for the last week. I'm on vacation for another 2 weeks. So, nothing to complain about there. You know what I've been doing, guys? In my time? There's plenty of things that I should be doing. But what I've actually been doing in the, when I'm not recording or editing or doing any of that stuff or doing, cooking or whatever it is I'm doing. If I have like free time, what I've been doing is playing Diablo. And I don't mean like Diablo 4. I mean Diablo 1. Back from 1990 something. I don't know why I got it into my head that I wanted to play that, but I did. And that's nothing that I'm going to stream or record or anything. It's just on my own. I'm having a good time with it. I got down to level, if you don't know, Diablo 1 has like a church that you go into. It's got 16 levels until you get to the bottom. I got down to level 14 and then started over because I realized about that time that there was an expansion to Diablo 1 called Hellcats or Hell something, which I wasn't playing. And then I realized you can't just install that and have it update your game. You have to actually start a whole new game. It's like a whole separate thing, which, this is back in the 90s. They didn't have they weren't that sophisticated yet as far as that goes. So I started all over again, which turned out all right because, let's see, there we go. The character build that I'm using, which is a rogue, I'm using the rogue, actually turned out a lot better the second time that I did it. Now I'm not back to where I was, but I'm down to like level 10 or so. And I also started the expansion because you can start that once you hit level 8 in the dungeon. And I did the first level of that. I think there's 8 levels of that, but I'm not positive. So that's what I've been doing. Instead of, working on stuff that I should be doing, like cleaning things and maybe even doing some coding and stuff like that. No. I'm playing a 20-year-old game, 25-year-old game. So that's fun. But whatever. I'm on vacation. I can do whatever I want. I would like to get back into the programming thing. I'm really kind of irritated at myself for not doing that, because I've got time to do it and I'm not doing it. And I would really like to work on that system that I was working on, just for, to prove to myself that I can do it. I'm not the world's most foremost expert on the Unreal Engine, but I like to think that I know a little bit about it. And I've got some of the the concepts of 3D programming are, they're independent of whatever you're using, like vectors and how to vector math and matrix math and all that kind of stuff. And you got to know that kind of stuff, which I did at one point. Forgotten a lot of it, but yeah, I haven't worked on it. I should have, and I really need to get on it. I haven't really been motivated. I don't know why. That section's done. That section's done. Nice. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Go away. That thing over there, I anticipate being quite a pain to clean, especially those stairs, which lots of nooks and crannies, and they're like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 levels at least of stairs. Yikes, that's gonna be rough. So we will be talking about the games this week, but also I did get some questions in from Tag, who has given me some, I keep wanting to hit that button to crouch, it's not the right button, who has given me some topics to talk about, and I would like to talk about them. Thank you, Tag, for that. I have written down a couple of notes on the subjects that he asked about. He probably knows the answers to the questions, but he's giving me topics to talk about, which I appreciate. We shall see. So yeah, I want to try and get this fire station done today. It should be doable. We did 50% last time, so doing 50% the second, or doing another 50% should be a one-day job, one would hope. And actually last time we did, I think we started off with a vehicle, did we not? I think we did. I want to say we started off with a vehicle, so there was some time for that, used for that. What was that? So, I mean, let's get into it. Let's start talking about the questions that Tag has presented and what my answers to those questions are. Because this is maybe an interesting topic. So he asked 2 questions. One of them, we'll start with the first one, because that's a pretty decent place to start. He asked about games that I played either before my YouTube channel or during my YouTube channel that I didn't stream or didn't record, that I wish I could have played on the channel blind. So I'm going to break this up into 2 categories. The first category being games that I did play on the channel but weren't live that I wish had been blind. Sorry, that weren't blind that I wish had been. And then the second category will be games that I've played that I did not record for the channel that I wish I had played blind on the channel. So we'll do 2 different categories of this. And because I am completely distracted, I have no idea what I wrote down. Let me just look. So games that I played on the channel that I wish I had played blind. I've got a few here, and they all kind of share a common theme. They're story games. Games where I thought the story was really good, so they would have been good for a blind playthrough. It's better, in my opinion, when you're playing a story-based game that has a lot of story to it, if you play them blind. Like an action game that's not really about story, doesn't really matter. Blind, not blind, who cares? But when it's a story-based game, it's usually better if you're doing it without knowing what's coming. Just for that first reaction, I think. Okay, I'm gonna try to get this done. So the games I have on my list, and these are all games that I have played on the channel, but were not totally blind, or at least weren't. With either I had completely played before, come on, or I had partially played before. So Saints Row 2 is the first one. Good story in that game, but I had played it to 100% before I started my YouTube channel. Excellent game. The story, it's nothing to write home about. It's just a standard story, but I kind of wish I had been able to do that one blind. That definitely wasn't blind. I wrote, doing my YouTube channel thing, I used to write guides for games on GameFAQs, if you guys can believe that. If you don't know what that is, I don't blame you, because it's kind of, I don't know. It's still around, but I think its heyday is over. I mean, people don't really read text guides anymore, right? But I used to write, I have several guides on GameFAQs, and Saints Row 2 is one of them, so I played the hell out of that game before YouTube. I think I played through it several times just to get that guide written, and then I played it on my own at least once or twice. So it's that rare game that I've played many times over. That would have been nice to play blind on the channel, just because it's a fantastic game. It's one of my favorite all-time games, as evidenced by the fact that I wrote a guide for it. Yeah, I mean, the story is good. In my opinion, Saints Row, they peaked with Saints Row 2. That was the best of the franchise, I think. Saints Row 1 was good, but it was limited by its technology. Saints Row 2 was fantastic. It was the perfect... by today's standards, the graphics are not the best, but that's, who cares? It's a fantastically playing game, and it's got a good story, and so yeah. Saints Row 3 and 4, I mean, I feel like I'm one of those who just doesn't really love the direction that they went into. They're fine. Don't get me wrong. They're fine games. I mean, I don't hate them or anything. I played them on the channel. They're fine. They're just not as good as the previous games, in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of where they went with those. I mean, I don't know. I guess I get it. You don't want to do the same thing over again that you already did in the the gangster genre kind of had played itself out for them. But that's the way I enjoyed playing. I don't know. So I think Saints Row 2 had kind of the perfect blend for my tastes of this side's still all messed up. All right, hang on. Or is it? Maybe not. Maybe just that one section. The underside is, though. So yeah, Saints Row 2 would have been nice to play blind on my channel. So let's see, we're done on the outside, right? Yeah, I think we are. Okay, so let's get working on this. Second game, BioShock. I would have loved to play BioShock blind on my channel. I played it long before. I mean, I think I played that game when it came out, and completed it, which is kind of rare for me. I don't often complete games unless they're on the channel. Unless I'm really enjoying them, and very often I'll be enjoying a game, but not so much that something else doesn't grab my attention and then pull me away. I have the attention span of a gnat, essentially. So it's very common for me to start a game and then get distracted by something else. So unless that's something that's really captured my attention. And BioShock was one of those games that did. I really quite enjoyed BioShock. The sequels, in my opinion, you know, they were fine, but they weren't as good. I think BioShock was another one of those games where the best game was the first one, in my opinion. This is all in my opinion, right? You know, if you have a different opinion, that's totally valid. I'm not discounting your opinion on that, anything like that. Okay, why is this still dirty? It must be underneath. So yeah, BioShock, yeah, well, there we go, yeah, that's why. BioShock had an absolutely great story. I really enjoyed it. The twist on it was nice. I won't spoil it. I mean, you know, it's like a 20-year-old game, guys, if you haven't seen it by now. But whatever, I won't give out spoilers. But yeah, I enjoyed the story. I played through that game all the way to 100. Not, should I say 100%? I'm not quite sure. I think I might have like done 100% on that game when I played it on my own. I do tend to do that with games, even if they're not on my channel, if I finish them. You know, like I said, I often don't finish games, but so yeah, that's another one. BioShock is an absolutely fantastic game, and I quite enjoyed the story, and the setting was cool. Quite a good, enjoyable game. Okay, this thing still isn't clean. That's because probably the other side is messed up. Or the front. Alright, give me that ladder. Let's see, another game that I wish I had played blind on my channel, Arkham Knight, is another one. What I'm basically listing here are a lot of my favorite games. Arkham Knight is a fantastic game. I know a lot of people thought the Batmobile was overused. The Batmobile never really bothered me. I thought it was an interesting mechanic. So it was fine for me. So it didn't cause me any issues as far as my enjoyment of the game went. I quite enjoyed using it. Yeah. and the story was good. I liked the villains. Pretty much everything about that game was enjoyable to me. The collectibles were good. Um, when I played on my own, so we played that game on the channel to 240%, which is as high as you can get, right? That's playing through the game twice, as well as the DLC twice. So yeah, it was quite a lot of Batman Arkham Knight, and I think by the end of it, we were all kind of a little bit burned out. I know I was a little bit burned out by the time we were done. All the challenge maps that were done. Ugh, why is this like? Why are you being a pain? I just gotta get the underside of this thing. But nevertheless, fantastic game. Absolutely fantastic. I'm kind of glad they never... I don't know if I'm glad, but I'm... What can I say? I don't know that I'm necessarily sad that they never did a sequel. So yeah, I mean, you know, that would have been a good one to play blind, and do that on my channel. And then the last one I have written down is Mafia. Mafia/Mafia 2. Mafia 3 was fine. The story on Mafia 3 just didn't really grab me that much, so I don't care as much that I didn't do that one blind. Although that one was more blind than any of the ones that I did, because I think when I played on my own, when I played Mafia 3 on my own, I did not get very far into it at all, because it kind of bored me. Which, you know, I think is a common complaint about Mafia. It's repetitive. On replay though, I found it was fine. But Mafia 1 and 2 have an absolutely great story. They're primarily story games, right? So I think that makes sense. So it would have been nice to do Mafia on my channel blind, which I didn't do because I played both Mafia and Mafia 2 before. But yeah, experiencing that story for the first time on camera would have been very cool. Thing here is just kind of a pain, isn't it? Did I not finish this top bit? Oh, well, there you go. I guess I finished it now. Okay, let's work on this wall. So those are the games I wrote down for games that I have played on my channel, but that weren't blind, that I wish were blind playthroughs. Those 4 games in particular, I think. I'm sure there's probably others, but those in particular for sure. I mean, there's others that I kind of had started at one point or another. God of War, for instance, like the God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok were both games that I had started at one point. Actually, God of War Ragnarok I got a pretty good ways into. I still actually, at this point, playing through that game, we're at least halfway, if not more than halfway through that game. And we haven't reached the point where I had, you know, that I had gotten to when I played it on my own. So I don't know how far I got, but it apparently was further than I thought. But yeah, anyway, so I mean that's another one that you could say would have been nice to play blind, but it's, I don't know. I mean, there's story to that for sure, no question about it. I don't know that it necessarily is any worse or better for being blind or not. That particular one. Damn ladder's right in my way. So yeah, those are the games, I think. Those are the primary ones that I wish. I kind of wish I had played blind on my channel. That were played non-blind. Games that I have not played on my channel that I have played before that I wish I could play blind. That's another category of things. There are several, and these are games that may or may not appear on my channel someday. I can't really say one way or the other. You know, I don't really know. I'm not trying to be mysterious or anything. They may appear on my channel. They may not. I think at least one of them will. I'm almost 80% sure. But I'm not going to say which one. So games that I wish I could play blind on my channel. That I have played before. Far Cry. Like maybe the first one is interesting, although it's just kind of a standard, you know, shooter, action shooter. There's nothing outstanding about it. It's a shooter. It's very difficult, actually. It's a super hard game. Like it's up there, Dark Souls level kind of difficulty. It's, you know, that's not an easy game to play. Far Cry 2 has a better story. Far Cry 3, of course, has... They all have good villains and stuff. So yeah, those are games, one or any of them, that would have been nice to play blind on my channel, but I've played most of them before. I don't think I've ever finished one of them. I think Far Cry... Is it 4? Which one is the one with the... that's in the United States? That's the one... that I think I played the most with the religious fanatics. Oh, we got a message. Hang on. Doc, it's Leonard. Call Cal's dad. When can you come round? I've got something filthy dirty for you. God, I cannot read today. Jeez. I swear to God, I know how to read. I swear. I promise. This is actually pretty convenient. I'm going to stand on this thing. So we must have hit 60%. Yeah, we sure did. Huh, nice. What else? The Just Cause games. I think in particular the first or second one. I don't know the Just Cause games as well, but I have played them, albeit a long time ago. And those would have been nice to play on my channel blind, I think. It's certainly a set of games that may someday appear. I can't say yes or no on that one, but if it does, I will have played at least some of them to some extent, although I have never finished any of them. But I find the premise intriguing, but I think it's not as, if I remember right, it's not as story-based. I think it's just, you know, this is the country you're trying to destabilize, I think is the deal with that one. and here's, you know, all the tasks you have to do that, and that's about it. I think I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Don't take my word for it. If I'm wrong, let me know, because I don't really remember them very well. But I have played at least some of those before. That would have been a nice one to do blind, but you know, not gonna happen now. The original Tomb Raider games is another one that would have been super cool to play blind on my channel. But I have played all those games pretty much, I think. I've played all of them at least a little bit. Some of them I have totally 100% completed. Some of the later ones, I think, like 5 and 6, I haven't, and maybe Anniversary, I don't think I ever finished, for one reason or another. But like 1, 2, 3, 4, I think I finished all of those, even to 100%. Those would have been nice to do on my channel as a blind playthrough. That would have been interesting. Although again, they're not necessarily that story based. I mean, you know, those games came out in a time when story wasn't really an option for games because they were limited by their technology, or at least it wasn't as easy. It wasn't as prevalent. Oh, that's just not acceptable. We can't have that. What's going on here? Is the other side like that? Or did I clean it? Yeah, I got the other side. Okay. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. And then finally, I have a fourth game on my list, which I just added, which is the Fable games. The Fable games are actually pretty decent. They're a little old now for their time, but I mean, you know, Peter Molyneux has a tendency to overpromise on his games. I mean, you know, I understand why. You get excited about a game and you want to add all this stuff to it, and then you start talking about it, and then it doesn't appear in the game, and people get annoyed. That's the reason why you don't do that. But he unfortunately does do that, so people get annoyed with him. But I mean, the Fable games are good. I have played at least 1 or 2 of them to 100%. One of them I have a guide for up on GameFAQs. I think it was the very first guide I ever wrote, I believe. I could be wrong about that. Not quite sure which one came first, because it could have been GTA 3, 2 or 3. It must have been 3. But I also did a guide for, and one of those came first. I can't remember which one. So yeah, I mean, fun game. That would have been fun to play blind on my channel. So yeah. I think that game, though, difficult to play totally blind, because you really got to kind of research what you're going to do in that game. Otherwise, you're not going to 100% it, because it's tricky to 100%. You can do it. I did it, but you got to really plan it out and make sure you know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to miss stuff. Not be able to do it. At least for the first game or two. The one with the Industrial Revolution game, I started to play it and found myself not really into it all that much, so I didn't finish it. I don't really remember why, other than I just wasn't really that excited by it, I think. Wow. Okay. Oh dear. Okay, how are we gonna do this? Okay, so I think that sufficiently covers the first question. I mean, games pre-played either before my YouTube channel or during my YouTube channel that I wish I had played blind on my channel. That was the question. And so those are the games that I think would have been nice to play blind. Second question. What are some of my best reactions or moments on the channel? You know, the standout things that I remember the most, I guess, is kind of the question. I got a couple. Really just two that kind of stand out for me as big deals. So the moment that in gaming, and not just on my YouTube channel, but just in general, the one moment that I am most proud of in all my gaming history is in God of War 2018. And if you know that game, you know right where I'm going. The defeat of Sigrun is probably my proudest gaming moment, because she is difficult. That is not an easy fight. That takes a level of skill that you gotta learn her moves and stuff, basically. And it is not easy. I can't remember how long it took me to beat her. Several hours, for sure. But yeah, that's my product. Not just even in the games that I've recorded, but in all of the history of my playthroughs. I think beating Sigrun has got to be one of my proudest achievements in gaming. So yeah. So, in terms of like a standout moment, kind of a shock moment for me, came from Red Dead Redemption 2. And if not the... Oh, this is going to be spoiler, guys. If you don't... if you haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, skip this little bit. Give it a couple minutes. The shock bit was not the death of Arthur, because we all saw that coming, right? By the time it happened, we all knew it was inevitable. It certainly was one of the saddest moments of that game or any game, really. I know a lot of people just lost it during that. I think if I had played that game now, I would lose it too. I played it at a time when I was married and my wife was still alive, so I didn't, emotions were not, I was not an emotional person. Not, that kind of thing. Sure, it's sad, but I wasn't going to lose my brain over it. Now, though, I have noticed since my wife passed away that is not the case anymore. I'm very much more emotional than I used to be. So I'm sure that if I played that game for the first time now, it'd be a different story. But okay, nice. That's done. But that's not actually the bit that I want to talk about. Okay, how are we doing here? This overhang is still got, oh, sure. There we go. Okay, we got this back wall. And I know I still got the roof to do too, so. The most shocking moment, I think, in all of my YouTube runs, or even, maybe even ever, was the death of Sean. And you may think to yourself, well, why was that shocking? I mean, a lot of the gang members didn't make it through the game. Sean was the first gang member who died on camera. I mean, I know Jenny and Davey died, but that was off camera, and we never knew them, right? They were dead before the game started. Sean's death was the first major gang member to die, I think, I'm pretty sure, on camera, the first one we knew. And that one hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, that's when I knew this game was going to be kind of something else, right? It was not going to pull any punches. And I still find that scene hard to watch to this day. And the thing of it is, when I was playing that, I was playing it on the channel, and I was going for gold medal for all the missions. And that particular mission I had to do like 5 or 6 times to get the gold medal on, which was pretty standard. I mean, you know, I think most of the missions we had to do several times to get the gold medals on. And every single time, so I had to watch that scene multiple times of Sean getting shot. And it was hard to watch. I actually started looking away when that part of it started coming. So that was, yeah, I think that was the most shocking development in gaming for me. Okay, we've done that. Now we got to do this roof. So I think that's pretty much all. I don't really have much else as far as like particular moments of games that really stand out. Those were the 2 big ones, I think. I'm probably forgetting stuff. I'm sure I am, but you know, if I'm forgetting it, it must not have stood out that much, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I probably am forgetting something, but those to me were the 2 that I thought of like right off the bat when I saw that question. Those 2 moments. I am proud of the defeat of Sigrun. That was a good. That took some skill. And you know, I know we've got another one just like it coming up. God of War Ragnarok, I'm sure, has the same kind of deal. They've got their own set of replacement, not the Valkyries, but they've got a set of replacements for them called the Berserkers. And we've already started them. Well, I've done 1 now. I think there's 9 or maybe 10. I think they added another one. Nine is a number that's significant to Norse mythology, so everything comes in 9s. That's why there's 9 levels for Kratos to make. And like, there's a lot of 9s in that game, but there were 9 Valkyries, right? I think so. Am I wrong about that? I want to say there were 9 Valkyries, but I could be wrong. There were 9 Berserkers until they added the 10th one. I think they added the 10th one. So I'm sure there's going to be a Berserker that's just like Sigrun, who's going to be a giant pain in the ass to take out. So we're going to have to do it all over again. I'm not especially looking forward to it. Those kind of things. I mean, I don't mind hard bosses, but when it gets absolutely incredibly ridiculous and takes hours and hours to get through, I don't really love that. That's not my favorite thing. I know a lot of people love that thing. That's why they put them in there, but that's not really for me. I'll do it if I have to, but it's not my favorite. I don't like spending hours and hours on one single thing. But we'll do it. We'll get it done. I hope. I'm assuming I can get it done. If it's any harder than Sigrun, then maybe not so much. I might not have the skill to do it. It may just be impossible. But I mean, that has happened before. I have had a couple of times in games where I've failed to finish a game because of some particular thing. God of War comes to mind. Ascension. God of War Ascension. It wasn't that it was. It was a difficult area, and for sure, and no question about it. But it was super annoying because if you failed, you had to start all the way back at the back, and it wasn't fun. It just wasn't fun. It was aggravating. It's one thing if it's if it's a tough battle, but it's fun, then fine, no problem. Like Sigrun was a tough battle, and it took hours and hours, and that's a little bit aggravating, but it was also fun. So I give him a pass on that one. But that God of War Ascension crap, that wasn't fun. There was nothing fun about that. It was just, annoying. That's all it was. There's no reason for that kind of difficulty spike in a game like that. I know it was the end of the game and they wanted it to be tricky, but that was not the way to go about it. They screwed up, as far as I'm concerned. But, so yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel about all that. So those were good questions. Thank you, Tag, for putting those out. I hope you guys enjoyed the answers. If you have other things you would like me to talk about, again, just stick them in the thing below. I'll get to them next stream, and we'll talk about them next time. But yeah. Ta-da! Okay, is the fire station totally done? I don't know. I think it is. I think the roof is done. Spotlight is done. I mean, it seems like it might be done. Did I miss anything? Maybe come around a corner and see a big dirt spot. But, wait. That spotlight's not finished. Oh. Give me that ladder. Gotta watch those spotlights because they have stuff on top of them. It's not the best placement, is it? There we go. Now it's done. What about this other one? Nope, that one's the same thing. Okay. Well, let's get that before it causes me all kinds of problems. There we go. And what else do we got? I mean, I don't see anything else. So I feel pretty good about this. That spotlight is done. Alright. So 2/3 done. And now we're on to you. Okay, for this we're going to need this. No question about it. So come with me, my friend. Come with me. Let's see. I can rotate this guy this way. We'll start on this side, shall we? So where shall we start? At the bottom? At the top? I got that a little close, didn't I? Maybe a little too close. Bottom maybe. The drill tower. Okay. At least it's brick. Brick actually is pretty easy to clean. So this will be the easy part, the outside. It's the inside that's going to be tricky. But that's fine. So, shall we talk about the games? I'll go back to my usual set of subjects. Do I have much to say about them this year? I mean, probably not. I will say they all went really, really quick today, or this weekend. I swear to God, when I was doing Immortals Phoenix Rising, I was thinking I was maybe 20 minutes in. I looked over, and it had been an hour. I was like, wow, what the hell? Where did the hour go? Where did the time go? Right? So, and they were all like that. I'm not really sure why that is. But they all went, the time went really, really fast. Seems like. Okay. Let's start thinking about getting up on the thing. So, God of War. How did God of War go? God of War went fine. We did more story stuff today. So, let's see. It was yesterday. So, what did I do yesterday? Oh yeah, I remember what I did. Yeah, I mean, it was all story stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of collectible work going on this week. So we didn't advance as far as collectibles go too much. Although some, I mean, you know, as stuff presented itself, I grabbed it for sure, but it wasn't my main focus. I tend to measure my progress in those games by the number of collectibles I've gotten. So from that perspective, I didn't progress super well this week on God of War. But we got story done. I mean, you know, so that's the thing that you have to do. We're just in a particular section of the game where you got to do story. There really isn't much else. I mean, I could go back and do realms and catch up on realm stuff, but I feel like we're going to end up doing that anyway, just as we go through the story and return back to realms in most places. The exception to that is Alfheim. I don't think we're going back to Alfheim in the story. I don't think, because my collection there is like in the 90s. It's like 90 percentile. So yeah, I feel like we're not going back there. We're done as far as story goes in Alfheim, which is fine because the Dark Elves are a pain in the butt to fight. They are challenging, those guys. No bosses today. I did do a Yggdrasil Rift. I think I did 2 of them. The Yggdrasil Rift fights are kind of like mini bosses. They are difficult. And in fact, I think the most difficult fight I've had in God of War Ragnarok so far was the Yggdrasil fight with a Dark Elf. It was the one we did, was it last week or the week before? You guys might not even have seen it yet. But I got through it. I don't know, you might have seen it, I'm not sure. Depends on how long ago it was. If you haven't seen it yet, you'll see it tomorrow, as I record this. Okay. These walls coming along. How we doing? Getting closer to the top? But yeah, no named bosses in this episode this week. It just turned out there weren't any. So, and like I said, the hour went by really, really fast. I was surprised when I looked over and saw that it was time to end the stream. So... I do feel like I must be getting close to the end where I left off in that game. I have to be getting close. And I think that's probably true. I feel like the area that we're in right now is getting pretty close to where I left off when I played it on my own. It's amongst the last things that I did. Now, like I've said before, I left off in Hell. I'm pretty sure I left off in Hell. And I'm not there yet, but we got to be really, really close. So, yeah. We're at the top of the deal. That wall's done. That wall's done. Noise. Hang on. Alright. Let's get the underside. Okay. This wall's about done. Yep, there you go. Look at the outside of this little pipe. That must be where they attach the things for repelling, right? The ropes. Why can't I get that spot? What's happening there? What's happening there? No. Unacceptable. Alright. I think we're good. This wall looks pretty decent now. I say that. I mean, I don't think that's going to make any difference in the long run. Alright. Let's go down. And change to a new wall. We'll go with maybe the front. All right, let's get to it. Drill tower wall frame. Sure. So yeah, you know, we still have Valhalla to do, the DLC for God of War Ragnarok, which I don't know anything about, literally nothing, except that it exists, that it's a thing. So even after we finish God of War, the base game, we'll have to go to do that. So it's, I mean, it's got a ways to go. It's not like we're imminently in any danger of finishing that game. I keep saying we're about halfway through it, and I think that's probably true. Maybe a little more than half, but it's still going to be a. What are we on right now? We're on episode 32. That's going to be a 60 episode game. I'm willing to bet, if not longer. It won't be, you know, Horizon Forbidden West or Horizon Zero Dawn length, both of which were 100 episodes or more. But it's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be short. It's a long game. Ding. That was quick. Like the section was its own section, I guess. So let's talk about the Saboteur. I wrapped the Saboteur today. That's it. Done, finished, completed. The Saboteur is a wrap. And I've already edited it. I thought the final episode would actually probably be short, because the only thing I had to do was 6 targets. There were only 6 targets left. And then collect 2 tanks and do the mission. I thought, that's not going to take very long at all to do those things. And, I kind of overdid, I think, the the 2 prior episodes, which were like an hour and a half long. I just did too many targets, I felt like. But in actual fact, in the end, the final episode clocked in at like over 50 minutes, 52 minutes. So it's like a pretty normal sized episode. Maybe a little short, but not that short. Okay, there's that one. Okay, going up another level. Really? We're way down here. How's that already done? Okay, if you say so. So, yeah, like I said, we only did 6 targets, collected 2 tanks, and did a mission. And that was the entire episode. And that was the end. It just turns out that all 3 of those things took abnormally long. 6 targets should not have taken me that long, but it ended up taking about 15 minutes or so, because they were in a tricky spot, for sure. That's why they were at the end, because it wasn't exactly an easy spot to get to. So it took a while to get those 6 targets. A lot of parkouring and stuff to get through. And okay, how are you doing? It's looking good. Next level. But yeah, that game is over. My involvement with that game, the edit is done. I still got to do the final review today. So I'll watch through the final edit, and then I'll upload it tomorrow, and you know, it'll sit on my channel for a week. I'm not saying you guys are going to get the final episode tomorrow. It'll be another week and some, like 8 or 9 days before you guys see it. But that's it. My involvement with that game is just about over. It's kind of sad. I quite enjoyed that game. I'm sad that they never got to do a sequel. Okay, up to the top. Ding. No. I don't know if I can do anything about that. Yeah, it's too far down. That's fine. We'll get it on the inside. Okay, that's done. Ding. Little top piece. There we go. Alright, this little bar. These things. Always tricky. And since I don't want to come back up this ladder all the way outside again, this scaffolding, I'm going to make sure we get as much of this as we can, because I don't think I can get it from the other side. At least not easily. Alright, good enough for right now, I think. Okay. I'd say we are in good shape here for this wall. Alright, let's move on to the next wall. So, yeah, I mean, I think I talked about my feelings about that game when we rolled the credits, which was about 3 weeks ago. How am I supposed to do this? Maybe there. I mean, I think that was it was a lot of fun for me. I've probably told you guys before, I'm a bit of a World War II history buff. Just as an amateur, mind you. So, some things I know about World War II that maybe some people, your average person, wouldn't necessarily know. Now, they did, I will say, they did do their homework, Pandemic Studios, so a lot of this stuff is accurate. A lot of it isn't. Some of it's made up for the game. Like, there's no such thing as a Wolf 3 tank. They never existed. And there's no such thing as a... What was the other tank that they made up for this game? The big one. Maybe that was the Wolf 3. Or the Panther 3. One of the tanks they made up, or a couple of the tanks they made up, were just made up for the game. They don't exist. But some of them, you know, were quite accurate. Like the tank that confused me at first, like right at the start of the game, and I think me and Cowboys fan, sorry, were talking about, turned out to be an Italian tank that the Germans were using, and that's accurate. That they would have done that, especially after Italy surrendered and Germany took over Italy, to make sure the Allies didn't come up through Italy and hit them on the south, which they ended up doing anyway. But so yeah, I mean totally accurate. That is exactly what would have happened. What did happen? They would have used the tanks that were there, and it was an Italian tank. I can't remember what it was called. It was like a small, not really even a tank, but an armored car kind of thing. I forget what they call them. So some of that stuff was accurate. Some of it wasn't. But that's kind of the fun of it, isn't it? Same thing for the sabotaging, really. In some respects, the response, the Nazi response to the sabotaging was accurate. They would and did, in response to what they could perceive as acts of aggression in a conquered territory, they would round up random civilians and kill them, execute them all, in retaliation for things like sabotage or anything, really. I mean, not even something as serious as sabotage. They did do that. So that's accurate. That was their way of trying to prevent it from happening. If you knew, if you're a resistance fighter and you knew that your actions would cause innocent people to die, you were less likely to do it, right? So, they knew exactly what they were doing, but yeah. But then some of it wasn't. So if there had been an actual sabotage on the scale that Sean was doing sabotage, the response would have been much more aggressive than it was. For the purposes of the game, they couldn't really do that. But the resistance on that level would not have been allowed to go as far as it did. They would not have been able to pull that off like that. Germany would have clamped down long before it ever got to that level. But I mean, some things you gotta say. It's for the game. You can't be so realistic that the game is unplayable. So you can forgive them for that. But yeah, fantastic game. I thought it was great. Man, this is going to be hard to get to, this stuff over here. Ah, this thing's in my way. I think I should use the ladder, maybe. Try to get this aside, because I can't get this thing over here. Hang on. This is going to be a fall. But, I hate doing that in games. Let's see, where did I put the ladder? Do you guys ever, does that ever happen to you when you fall from a long distance in a game? Like it physically affects your... It does to me. Like it makes my stomach feel weird to do that. So yeah, I mean, it's not gonna let me put this ladder up here anymore. Okay, well, so much for that idea. This is interesting. How are we gonna get this wall? I guess I could try to put the thing over here. Come here, you. Let's put you... I'll turn you around. Let's see what we can do with you right here, maybe? No, I'm not going to be able to get that over there. There's... What? What do you want me to do, game? There's no way for me to get over there. Did I just... How did I do that? I always forget how to make that do that. Oh, what's the button for that? G? H? It's one of these damn buttons. God damn it. Okay. Sorry, guys. I've forgotten what the button is for that control. Controls. Aim mode C. Okay, thank you. Stop that, please. Sit in the middle. I don't know how they expect me to get up there. That's a valid question. If I stick it like this way. See if I can get over there. Up here. Yeah, maybe. Just barely. At least get it cleaner. Which brings us to Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is Dragon Ball. I say kind of the same thing about it every week. It's fine. There was just as much watching of the video as ever in that game. Which is, you know, it's fine. Okay, that takes care of that. Oh, nice. Did we just finish that wall? Hey, come on, get off of there. I'm going to say that we did. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, good. I will say we did finish the all the sub-stories for this saga except for one. And that one is not going to show up until way later on. So of the 11 sub-stories in this particular saga, we have now finished 10 of them. So that's not too shabby. Okay, I think that's done. Good enough. Okay. And we advance the story. I mean, you know, there's really not much else to do in that game at this point, other than if we're sub-stories and regular stories. Let's see. This is the wrong direction, right? This goes this way. Hang on, we'll start down here. So yeah, here we had 80%. No messages? No messages for me at 80%? I mean, you know, it went well. It was fine. I took out a bunch of bosses. I think I did at least 3 or 4 boss fights in that hour that we spent with Dragon Ball this week. So that's good. I mean, it's a significant advancement of the story, as well as finishing 2 more sub-stories. I think it's going to go pretty fast from this point forward as far as the story goes, since we don't have any more sub-stories to do for quite a while. We only have 1 more in total, right? And it's not, like I said, it's not for a while. So it's really just going to be bang, bang, bang. There's other stuff. I mean, I could stop and do some other stuff. Like, I don't know. I could do races, I think, and maybe, I don't know, a few other things, but a lot of it's been locked now by the story itself. So I'm not actually sure I could do anything else, to be honest. So I think it'll go pretty fast. We are like coming up towards the end of the base game. Although post Saga 4 has a whole lot of intermission sub-stories in it. Like a whole lot. So it'll take us a few episodes to get through those. So I mean, it's not imminently close to being done. And then after we're finished, we got some DLC to get through. So we still have some stuff to do, but I think it's coming along. What episode are we on in that game? 40. I just did 43. I think we're done by 60 with the base game, at least. I would say seems reasonable, and that includes the post-saga intermission sub-stories. So we're at 81%. We still got the entire inside to do. What the hell? I feel like that's crazy. I guess we were at 2/3 when we finished the fire station, I suppose. Ding. Ding again. This amazes me. Look at this. I'm way down here. How is that clean? I don't really understand that. This dirt you can hardly see. What's up with that? So, let's talk about Immortals. I intended to do a fair bit today, this morning, in Immortals. But I wanted to start with the story vault, which was not Athena, the other one, Aphrodite. I get those two mixed up for some reason. The Aphrodite story vault, I thought we'll start with the story. We'll get that done. It's a vault. We'll go ahead and do it. So I started it and proceeded to spend the entire hour in that vault. And the thing of it was, that was one of those situations, like I said earlier, that I swear to God, I was only in there for like 20 minutes, and suddenly I looked up and an hour had gone by. Oh, this is not good. What the hell? Somebody graffitied up here. So yeah, I was intending to do some other stuff, and basically just got that one vault done. Basically, I did do one other thing, but it was a quick, easy thing that just happened to be right in my face as I came out of the vault. I was astonished when I looked over and our recording time was at an hour, and I was like just finishing up the vault. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna say, let's see if we can get that to finish on its own without me having to get too involved with that graffiti. The vault was fun. I enjoyed the vault. It was good. You know, it's one of the better vaults I think that we've done, so no complaints there. But yeah, I mean, we basically finished Aphrodite's storyline, I think. Not really much else to say about it. I think it finished up. We got her final blessing, so, you know, good stuff. Okay, I think we're good. I think the outside is done as it needs to be. And I can ignore that thing. And here we go on the inside. Okay, before I get started on the inside, I'm going to go take a break for a second, get a little more coffee, and hit the bathroom. And yeah, we'll get started on the inside of this thing. Should be fun. All right, I'll be right back, guys. Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. Had to take a break for a minute. How long have we been going for? Let's take a look. About an hour and a half. Huh, that's about right. Okay, let's take on this whole mess. Alright, this does not look like it's going to be easy. But, okay, let's get to it. Alright, we're going to talk about Lego. Because I think I'm done with Immortals. There's really not much to say about Immortals because it just did the one thing, and well, that was that. Yeah, the door frame's done. Woohoo! Looks like that stairway is going to be pretty easy as far as, at least it doesn't, you know, all you do is hit it and it's done. Like it doesn't have to go over it multiple times. So that's nice. In fact, let's just finish off this bottom staircase. Except for the chrome bits, which are going to have rust on them or whatever that is. Okay. Yeah, I guess he's not too bad. Why can't I get under here? That wall's done. See, piece of cake. Not even a problem. So, Lego. I mean, what to say about Lego, you know? Drill tower ground floor. What does that mean? How are we doing here? We still got a good connection going on. You guys are good. The thing about Lego, since we're in free play mode, there's really not a whole lot to talk about. I do get stressed with Lego, and I know that comes through on the video, because I have to find those ridiculous canisters, and I'm trying to do it without looking anything up, you know. But they don't make it easy for sure. They don't really tell you very well sometimes what it is you need to do. Sometimes you need to do some pretty darn obscure things. Okay, this is looking... and so, you know, I'll end up with 9 out of 10 canisters. I gotta get all 10 canisters every level. It can be kind of stressful. And then I've got to figure out why I missed a level. Or, you know, like last week we had a super long level, and I missed a canister right at the end. I had to redo the entire level, which took like, I don't know, over half an hour or something like that to do that level. Not that I make you guys sit and watch me redo it, but I still have to redo it. And it's a pain. It's stressful. But I mean, we are coming up on towards the end of that game. I mean, I think there's 7 episodes left after the one that I just did today. that I recorded today. So for you guys, I think that means there's 9 left that you haven't seen yet. Okay. Has this already been cleaned? I don't know. I guess maybe it has, huh? So I mean, you know, other than that, there's not a whole lot to say about Lego. It's a matter of doing the levels and collecting all the canisters. This particular week we had a space mission level, which, you know, I expressed my distress when that started up, but it wasn't actually all that bad. The levels that are space missions or what's the other kind? The assault mission ones that are levels are difficult to do for me in terms of like collecting canisters and stuff. It's not my favorite when they do that. So it always stresses me out when we get a space mission, especially space missions. Or even worse when we do bounty hunter missions that are space missions. Those are the worst. You know, we've had a couple of those lately. I don't super love those, I have to be honest. Oh man, okay. Cleaning the underside of the stairway. So yeah, I mean, you know, it was fine. I actually did okay with that one today. Didn't have any trouble, not really much trouble finding the 10 canisters. I found them all without having to look up anything. Yeah. In fact, as far as, you know, I try not to look stuff up for Lego games, but sometimes it does happen. Like, especially for this Clone Wars game, where they make some of the things you have to do very, very weird and obscure things that you would never think of. To the point where I'm like not sure how people figured them out in the first place. I don't know. I guess, I mean, you could stumble upon them accidentally, I suppose. I don't know. Okay, are we done down here? I think we are done down here. Well, I say that. I mean, that underside, can we get, I guess? Alright, we'll do that. It's a little bit hard to look straight up and do this. So yeah, and then we did an assault mission, which was not a separatist assault mission, because we finished those last week. Those are done. We did a Republic assault mission. So we have 8 of those left, because We did 8 to start with, and then we have 8 more to do now, or 7 more after I did the one today, which was easy enough. I'm actually getting the hang of those assault missions pretty okay. They're actually turning out to be not a problem. I don't think I've failed one in a while. At first I wasn't sure what I was doing, but as it turns out, it was alright. Okay, I think the bottom is fine. So, what else would you consider the... Oh, it's confusing to me. Okay, anyway, moving on. So yeah, and then we did the assault mission, and then we did the bounty hunter, which was Ahsoka today. So that was fun. I still gotta watch that show. I gotta watch a lot of shows. Okay. See, now this is now the next section of the wall. So what is... I'm so confused. Where's the cutoff? It's like right in the middle of the wall somewhere. Huh, that's so weird. It's like right there. Somewhere. That's fine. That's fine. There you go. But then this is still dirty. Well, because this is all part of... Sure. So, do you guys want to hear the continuing saga of my traumatized left hand? So if you don't know, about a week and a half ago, I was cooking, as I do, and I was cutting up pork, raw pork, a pork shoulder, with a brand new knife, very sharp Japanese style knife. And the knife slipped and went across my left hand, my left fingers. And it caught my index finger and my middle finger on my left hand. Pretty good. So that was the story. I told it last week. Well, I mean, they're improved. Well, I say they're improved. They are. They've healed some. My index finger has gotten slightly infected, which is not surprising because, of course, that knife had raw pork, particles all over it, and it went right into my skin. It went right into my thing. So I would have been more surprised had it not gotten a little infected. So it did. But I think it's a little better now. I'm keeping an eye on it just to make sure it doesn't get any worse. But I think it's my white blood cells are doing their job and neutralizing the foreign particles. So, this is all still part of the ground floor. Okay, well, that's just weird. I think it's better. We'll see. I mean, I'm not, you know, we'll see how it goes. Give it another couple days. I'll let you guys know next week if it actually improves or not. But I considered that the much more minor of the two injuries, the index finger. And only if it wasn't for the fact that it got infected, it probably would have been pretty much healed by now, or more or less. But it is a little bit infected, so it is what it is. The other one, the other cut went across my nail and sliced through it. Like I said, these were very sharp knives. And into the nail bed, which, of course, you know, obviously blood everywhere. Basically split like a third of it off. Not at the bottom of the nail, but along the side. So it kind of starts on the side and then goes to the bottom of the nail. Almost like in a crescent shape. So I am trying very hard to not lose that nail. Now I will lose it for sure. That section of it, that 1/3 section that it went through. There's no question about it. The nail is dead. I looked at it yesterday, and that part of the nail, that third section, is completely dead. It's white. You know, it's not the normal nail color. It's gone completely white. So it is dead. It's going to come off at some point. But I'm trying to avoid that for as long as possible. Because I don't want the nail bed to be exposed. You're more susceptible to fungal infections when your nail bed's exposed and stuff like that, right? So I'm trying to keep it on there. It's not attached to the rest of the nail. It was attached to the side of my finger, right? And I'm sorry if this grosses you out. It is kind of a gross situation. But it, you know, it is what it is. It's what I'm dealing with right now. It doesn't hurt. I don't think it's infected, which is nice. The nail bed itself, I think, has healed, more or less. I mean, I can't see under the nail, so I don't know for sure, but I think it's certainly gotten better underneath the nail, because it doesn't really hurt to push on it or anything. If it was infected, it would hurt to push on. So somebody has graffitied on this wall. But the reason I tell you this is because I'm trying, like I said, not to lose the nail as long as possible. Now it's going to eventually happen, for sure, but the longer I can put it off, the less time I have to deal with basically an open nail bed, and the less surface area I have to deal with. So the further out that nail can grow to replace the part that's dead, the better off I will be. So I'm trying to keep it on there as long as I can. And after I bandaged it, I did that for, I don't know, a few days. But it wasn't super working. I mean, the bandage, it kind of works, but the bandages kept fraying and coming off, and you couldn't get them wet. And I'm trying to wash my hands, all the time. And so it was just a pain. So what did I end up doing? At first, I super glued, I put the nail back down and glued along the crack to the other part of the nail and super glued it down. And that worked for a little bit, but not really. Like, it wouldn't last very long before it just cracked open again. Really, like really less than a day, it would stay down before it split back open again. So that wasn't totally working. This is pretty good, right? I think we're doing all right here. 90% now. So I kind of looked up what to do and found a suggestion. And so I did this. What I did was I glued it back down, and then I put nail polish over the top of it. Now, as a guy, I don't have nail polish, but I do still have like a lot of my wife's stuff. And I know it's been a year and a half, and I haven't really gone through a lot of her, like that kind of stuff, her makeup and polish and all that kind of stuff that's in the bathroom. It's been a year and a half, like I said, and since she passed away, and I should have probably dumped all that stuff out by now. It's not a real big priority for me. I don't need the space because we have a pretty big bathroom. It's a 2-person bathroom, and I have my own drawers and stuff, so I don't really need her space. It just really hasn't really, I'm not in any kind of, it just isn't a priority. I'm not in any rush to go through her stuff and get rid of it. So I still have like all of her like nail polish and stuff. So I didn't have to go out and buy any. Now I'm going to tell you guys, my wife was not the kind of person who used black nail polish, which would have been my preference. Like if a guy is going to use nail polish, it's probably going to be black, right? That's kind of the only acceptable color for guys. I say acceptable, but you know what I mean. It's kind of, that's the color that would typically be used on men. But I didn't have black. She didn't have black, but she did have a dark purple, so that's what I'm using, is a dark purple. So I have a dark purple polish on my middle finger of my left hand. Now, as a guy who has rarely, if ever, used nail polish, I didn't really know what I was doing, so it doesn't look very good. But, you know, it doesn't have to. I'm not here for fashion. I'm here to try to protect the nail and to try to strengthen it. That was the whole point, is to try to put as much strength on that piece as possible. So gluing it down and then putting nail polish over the top of that. And we'll see how that goes. So I did it once, and then it lasted 2 or 3 days, and then the nail cracked open again and started catching on stuff. So I very, very carefully took everything back off again, the nail polish and the super glue with nail polish remover. Super, super carefully, because that nail's wanting to come off. And I did that successfully, and then I glued it back down yesterday, and repolished it. And I think I did a better job, and it's really solid right now. It's like, if you looked at it, or you feel it, it feels like one nail. So I'm hoping it lasts at least a while. The longer I can get it to last, the better I feel about it. I mean, eventually it is going to come off for sure, but if I can put that off as long as possible, I'll do whatever I need to do to get that done. So that's the story of why I have nail polish on my nails, or one of my nails anyway. So yeah, doesn't hurt. Not anymore, not really. Except the only time it hurts is when if the nail if it's come loose and it catches on something and it pulls, that hurts. That's one of the reasons why I've got it glued down, because I think the longer it goes, the less it's going to hurt when it comes off, but who knows. Okay, so this, oh, this one's still, well, this has this. So the stairs are different? I don't know. Okay. So yeah, for the first time in my life, as far as I know, I have nail polish on one of my nails. And I don't really care. I'm not like, I'm on vacation. I'm not going anywhere. I'm in the house. I do have to go grocery shopping here in the next couple of days because we're out of food, but maybe I'll cover it over just so I'm not self-conscious about people seeing it, but do I really care? I don't know if I care. If somebody wants to judge me for having nail polish on my left middle finger, then it seems more their problem than mine. I don't know. I have a good reason for it. So, I don't know if I would go to work like that. I might. Like I say, do I really care? I don't really know that I really care. You can guys think whatever you want. I'm trying to protect my my hand. So, but yeah, that's the reason why my nails are polished right. Or not my nails, my one nail. But yeah, when I like took everything off yesterday and looked at it, oh man, it does not. It doesn't hurt, but it doesn't look pleasant. Like you don't want to look under all that stuff. It's kind of gross. I gotta say, the nail is, like I said, the nail is dead, or that portion of the nail is dead, and it doesn't look good. I don't know if it can do any damage, like having a dead nail sitting on your skin. Like, can that sort of thing get infected? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it's a problem, but I could be wrong. If it starts to hurt, I'll just pull it off and be done with it. But I would like to put that off as much as possible. So, the ongoing saga. And by the way, I did finish cutting up that pork. I did that a couple of days ago. Maybe more like 3 or 4 days ago. I didn't want it to sit for too long because I wanted to, use it. For one thing, I bled for that pork, so I didn't want it to be a waste. There was no blood on the pork. I don't think. I washed it all off, so don't freak. But and then it was in the refrigerator for a couple of days marinating, and then I deep fried it with cornstarch. So I have pork nuggets. What I'm going to do with it is make sweet and sour pork. That's the plan. I haven't done it yet, but I will. The hard part's done. Actually, deep frying the pork bits is the difficult bit. Everything else is it's easy. If you've never made sweet and sour pork, the hard part is getting the pork shoulder cut up and deep fried. That's difficult. Other than that, it's simple. The sauce is simple. And the vegetables and stuff. No big deal. I just gotta like I said, I gotta go to the grocery store and get the ingredients, which I'll do in the next day or two. And then I'll make it up. And that'll be good. Okay, how are we doing here? So the drill tower first floor seems to be done. The drill tower inside wall seems to be not done. I want to make sure I get everything up to where I am as much as possible. Like, I don't want to have to go back downstairs and stuff, So, why am I not standing up? There we go. Okay, moving on. I think we're on to the next level. We're at 94%. What floor are we on? Oh, we're pretty high, so we're getting there. And of course, we'll have to do cleanup. Because there'll be stuff that I missed. Have to figure out what it is. Hopefully I get a list. Because that would suck if I didn't. I mean, I could cheat and look at the list on the thing, but I kind of think of that as cheating. It's not cheating. It's using the resources the game gives to you. I understand that, but... So I guess, let's see. So Thursday was Christmas, right? Am I thinking about that right? So Friday was Boxing Day over in the UK, as I understand it. I hope those of you in the UK had a good Boxing Day. You'll have to explain to me what that means, because I don't really actually have ever known what Boxing Day is. Is that like literally a day to watch boxing? Like the sport boxing? Is that what you're doing? I don't understand. I don't know what that means. We don't have that here in the United States, so I don't know what it is. And I'm a stupid American. I don't know anything about other cultures at all. I'm being sarcastic. I like to think that I know a little bit about other cultures. But Boxing Day is not one of those things I know anything about. Americans do seem to have a reputation around the world for being less than intelligent. I don't know why that is. Well, in some ways I do know why that is. Some Americans are less than intelligent. Let's just put it that way. We'll not sugarcoat it too much. Some of them should not be outside without a leash. Maybe we should put it like that. But there's a lot of very intelligent people in America. I mean, you know, I'm a scientist and I work with a lot of very intelligent people. So, you know, it's a stereotype. It's deserved in some respects, but in others it's not. I thought this stereo would actually be a real problem, but actually it's not so bad. It doesn't seem to really be that hard. I was thinking it would be a lot harder than this. Like a lot of nooks and crannies and stuff, and there are a lot of nooks and crannies and stuff, but they're not that hard to find. It seems like. I say that now until I have to go to cleanup mode and try to find the stuff that I missed. It's probably going to be a pain in the butt. I've actually enjoyed this fire station. It's kind of an interesting building. I'm trying to think if there's any that I haven't enjoyed. I don't know that that's anywhere especially. Oh, look at that. That one's done. Especially tedious. Maybe the one house that we did. The first house that we did was kind of a little bit tedious, I guess, to do. But I mean, I guess all of them have their tedious parts to them, I suppose. But this one's been interesting. I've enjoyed this one. Even these stairs, which I didn't think I was going to enjoy, but they're fine. They're fine. It's, you know, it's not... I think it's... A lot of it is that it's easy to clean. All I have to do is go over it like the one time and it's clean, right? I don't have to keep going over it multiple times like some metals and stuff that you have to do that with. Ding. There you go, drill tower wall frame. So yeah, like I said, I've been playing Diablo. Why did I get it in my head that I wanted to play Diablo? I have no idea. I don't know. I was, you know, being on vacation. I don't know. I don't want to say I'm bored. I have so much to do, and there's so many things I want to get to. But on the other hand, I was kind of looking for something to do. Because, you know, normally I would be working during that time. And yeah, I could have watched shows or read a book or, I don't know, worked on programming stuff but I kind of wanted to play a game and I was like, well, what game do I want to play? And I don't know why, but Diablo popped into my head and I was like, I don't think I ever finished Diablo. I think I played it, but I don't think I ever finished it. And it's not a very long game. I could probably do it in 20 hours. Except I started over again. But even when I started over like, what, yesterday? Or the day before yesterday? And I'm already like, what, level 10 or 11? Out of 16? It's not a super long game. It's really not. Now the expansion adds another bunch of levels. I think it's 8 levels. I think it's 8 levels, I'm not sure. And I started the first one. And they're kind of tricky, but I did the first one yesterday. So I'm kind of doing them simultaneously. So I'm on level 10, I think it's 10 or 11, probably not 12, maybe 12? I don't, maybe not, 10 or 11 of the main game, but I also done level 1 of the expansion, which is Hellfire, I think it's called, or something like that. It's fun. I enjoy it. You know, I'll finish it, but I won't, you know, I'm not going to play it again. I'll do it once. And then I'm done. Like, some people will do like a rogue and then a mage and then a warrior. There's like 3 classes, or 4 classes actually, with the expansion. And they'll do one of each. I'm not going to do that. I figure if I kill Diablo, I've done my job. So, but I'm having fun with it. I think the expansion actually in a lot of ways made the base game much easier because it added new stuff. And the bow that I've got for my rogue is so much better than the bow that I had for the first time I played through and got to level 14. Like it's a bow that I'm probably going to keep through the end of the game. I haven't seen anything better. And I ended up buying it from a shop. It was super expensive, but I was finding, when I was playing the base game, I had so much money and I had nothing to spend it on. even the premium items and stuff were just worthless to me. They were worse than the stuff that I already had. So I had all this money, and it was, you can only stack money in 5,000 coin stacks, so it was taking up half my inventory space. Literally half my inventory space. So yeah. And but like I was saying, the expansion, I think, added a bunch of stuff, and the stuff that they added made the base game seemingly a lot easier. Either that or I got lucky with the drop. A lot of that game is randomized, so I don't know. Maybe it's just that I got lucky, but the bow I have is like base damage 1 to 10, which is, I don't know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's huge for that game. And then it's got plus an additional 1 to 6 fire damage, so, you know. Look at that, we're at the top of the building already. So it's basically 2 to 16 damage, and that's massive for this game. Nothing does that kind of damage in bows anyway. Weapons, I don't know. Maybe weapons do more. By weapons, I mean like swords and maces and stuff. But I haven't really paid much attention to those since the rogue as an archer. But yeah. I should be doing other things. I should be doing programming stuff. I really should. That's what I should be doing. Ding. Okay, so this is done. This inside wall is coming along. Ding. Okay, what are we at? 98%. Wow, nice. Yeah, I can't get any higher. Well, I could bring the stool up here, I suppose. I think there's just a stool around somewhere. Oh, the floor is done. Let's see. This. Why is this wall got? Oh well. Okay, I see. Yeah, there's a lot of junk over here and there. So yeah, I mean, it's an enjoyable game. Maybe I'll start playing Diablo 2 when I finish that one, because I should probably finish it in the next day or two. I would imagine. I got a lot of editing to do, so, you know, I won't have as much time to get through it, but I'm sure I'll spend some amount of time playing. Get the underside of this thing. There we go. The edge done. I don't know. That's not really the sort of game that's great for streaming, I think. At least I wouldn't think so. Ding. Okay, that's done. It doesn't actually quite line up with what you're pointing at, does it? I don't know why. I mean, it's well, I mean, the graphics are terrible. Let's be honest. Even for a game, I think it was 1989. I don't remember what year. You know, I could be completely off, but It's an old game, but I mean it's rough to look at for sure. You're not there for the graphics. Look at that, we got a to-do list. How about that? Wow, nice. Very cool. Can I get up here? Yeah, I can. Okay, nice. No. Moss up here and stuff. What the hell? Okay. There you go. This one. Ah, just about fell off. Ding. Okay, wall bases, office walls. Do you think we're done with this thing? Wall bases, it sounds like something from on the fire station. We might be done in here. Let's go check out. There's one wall base that's missing, which is awesome. I think, if anything, that's going to be on the outside, right? That's the drill. That's the frame. Yeah. Let's look over here. Yeah, these are the wall bases. So there's a base that's messed up somewhere. Let's check all the bases. This one. Sure. You have chosen the way of death. There we go. And office walls. Office walls. That's going to be these guys, right? Somewhere over here. Yeah. 2 of them. Oh, I wonder if it's in the back. Did I get clean back here? Yeah, I did. That's an office wall. These are just walls. So this is the office wall. Is this all just one wall? What am I missing here? What am I missing? I don't see anything. Huh. You think upstairs, maybe? Let's go check up top. Where's my ladder? Maybe these. This one seems fine. Really? It says there's 2 of them that are messed up. I don't see a problem. Huh. Maybe down inside of here? Okay, I'm not seeing it. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm looking at the little thingy. There's nothing here. Tricorder must be broken. Is there a different office wall somewhere? What are you talking about? I'm gonna have to cheat. Because I don't see anything. Ah, okay. Sorry, guys. We're gonna have to go through and find it. What's glowing? What? I think they've lost their minds. There's nothing wrong with these walls. Oh, you gotta be kidding. Those little tiny... Oh, okay. Alright. Sure. Okay, thank you. Sorry I had to cheat. Let's turn that off. Okay, there's that one. Oh, this is filthy, yeah. Yeah, you're not kidding. That's dirty. Okay. Get all this. And we should be good, right? There you go. Hey, FA, any chance you can come hose down our spare truck? The mayor's running us ragged over here. Sure. Well, I feel like we just got finished with the fire station, so that's as good as you're getting. How are we doing here? Yeah, 2.5 hours. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our tablet. There's me cleaning everything. Very cool. That's one hell of a job. Thank you. I gotta say, there's been a lot of talk in the community about the quality of your work, and from one person who loves standing around spraying water at stuff to another, you have our respect as well as some of our taxes. Nice. $11,000. $1,100. 11,000. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? $1,100. Okay. Very good. Continue. Oh, we got multiple stuff now. We got all vehicles, though. Interesting. We got a car, a penny farthing, and a fire truck. Okay, we can do all those next time. This is going to give us $10. This is $250. This is $300. Okay, cool. Should we go to the store? Let's see. How do I get to the store? I always. It's a good question. There we go. Shop. What do we have in the way of equipment that I don't yet own? We have this Prime Vista 3000 turbo nozzle for $120. So what do I have now? Sorry, what? I have the Prime Vista 1500. No. I have the 3000. Okay. I don't have the 5,000 yet. So I have the Prime Vista 3000. Not modifications. Equipment. So I have the 3000. That's what we have. Okay. So we could get a new nozzle for it. Although, was I not using the nozzle? I feel like I was. But let's go ahead and buy the 3000, or the 3000 nozzle. Why not? The Prime Vista 3000 short extension for 200 bucks. Let's buy that as well. And Prime Vista Pro. We don't have the Prime Vista Pro, that's right. So we can't buy that. I think that's pretty good for right now. We have soap nozzles and stuff, but I don't want to get too crazy with this because we got other stuff to buy. So cleaning liquids, I mean, sure. We can buy a few of those. That's fine. Let's talk about clothing. Let's see what we got in the way of clothing. How about a red one? Let's buy the red outfit and the red gloves. We'll buy those. How's that for a plan? And actually, let's buy yellow as well. Why? I don't know. Just because. Do we not have yellow gloves? We don't have yellow gloves? What kind of crap is that? How come we have a yellow outfit and no yellow gloves? That seems wrong. Okay. Sure. Alright, that's fine for that. What else we got? Modifications. Research edition. What does that mean? Oh, what? This one's $2,000. Okay. Let's donut pink. Industrial red. Let's get an industrial red. I like it. We'll maybe use that next time if I remember. I always forget to do the change the clothing and stuff. And then the power washers we already went through. So okay, we're good here. We have $520 left over. We'll keep it. Okay, guys. Well, cool. We did the fire station. That's what I wanted to get done today. So I feel like we're in good shape. Next week apparently is going to be all about vehicles. So that'll be cool. Let me see. Do we need to save the game or anything like that? No, guess not. I guess it does it on its own. Oh yeah, these are the DLCs and stuff. We're going to do some of these for sure. I don't know if we'll do all of them, but I want to do at least a couple. Alice, for sure. Maybe SpongeBob. Tomb Raider, yeah, for sure. Warhammer 4000, maybe. You know, who knows? We'll see. But okay. All right, guys. Well, that's it. We are done here for today. So thank you for stopping by if you came in. Nobody asked any questions in the chat today. That's fine. If you have questions or comments or things you want me to talk about in the next episode, do leave them in the comment section below. I do see them. So yeah, and I will be sure to get to them in the next episode for sure. So yeah, whatever you guys want to talk about. You know, as long as it's within the terms of service or not too personal. There's some things I may not talk about because, you know, none of your business. But also, actually, future IPs I won't generally talk about. Like what gonna play on my channel, I won't say because we've talked about that before. There's reasons for that. But yeah, anything else though, if you guys have comments in the thing below, I will address them. I'm happy to do that. So yeah. Anyway, we're gonna shut it down here. So thank you for stopping by. I will see y'all in the next week's stream. Okay, talk to you later. See ya.